Oscillators, filters, envelope generators, LFOs. These are the stuff dreams are made of, but also the stuff that synths are made of, or are they one and the same thing? I'm not so sure anymore, but what I'm sure of is that it can be a little complicated to find your way in all this new terminology when you're getting started on your synth journey. So let me simplify things for you so that you can get to the making music part quicker. Welcome to Anatomy of a Synth. The oscillators are the sound generators of a synth, and they're called like that because they generate waveforms that oscillate. It's as easy as that. Initially, oscillators could generate several waveforms, but only one at a time, with the usual suspects being sine wave, triangle, sawtooth, and pulse wave. But some synthesizers could morph between waveforms, and today, modern oscillators can also produce more complex waveforms as well as wavetables, which put simply are morphable aggregated waveforms stacked on top of each other that expand the sonic range of a synth exponentially. Monophonic synths have one voice, usually composed of 1 to 3 oscillators that can be pitched individually, but that share the same amp and filter envelope. In polyphonic synths, each voice has its own envelopes, allowing multiple notes to be shaped independently. To blend these oscillators with one another, most synthesizers feature a mixer section that has a volume control for each oscillator, and that's also where the noise generator usually lives. Noise is a great way to add texture to a sound or to use as a subtle modulation source for lo-fi effects. It's not a substractive synth without a filter. Filters shape the harmonic content of your sound by removing certain frequencies. Low-pass filters take out the highs, high-pass filters cut out the lows, and band-pass filters carve out everything except a specific middle band. Analog filters are loved for their warmth and character, but digital filters essentially work the same while offering a lot more flexibility, consistent controls, and instant recall. Plus, they can emulate tons of classic filter types. So instead of being stuck with just one flavor, you basically get access to a wide range of filter characters in a single synth. LFO stands for Low Frequency Oscillator, and these are pretty much oscillators that generate frequencies below what the human ear can detect, and since these frequencies oscillate much slower, we can use them to animate other components of the synth, like for example the filter or the pitch. So a classic example of that is the classic vibrato effect, in which an LFO modulates the pitch slightly to create a vibration. Another classic one is the tremolo effect. This time the LFO is modulating the amplitude of the oscillator. These are very vanilla ways to use an LFO. Pushed to the extreme, they can be used to create crazy shapes and moving timbres. Think dubsteps or IDM for reference. The envelope generators of a synth are one of the key components when it comes to sound design. As the name implies, the envelope generator is a circuit that gives shape to a sound via the use of 4 controls: attack, decay, sustain, and release. The number of envelope generators vary widely depending on the synth, with traditionally at least 1 amp envelope and an envelope shared between the filter and the oscillator's pitch. But more modern analog, hybrid, and digital synths can have multiple envelope generators that can be routed to different synth components via a flexible mod matrix. Another key component of a subtractive synth is the VCA, or voltage-controlled amplifier. Unlike the mixer, which controls the loudness of each oscillator relative to each other, the VCA controls the overall amplitude of the sum signal of the voice. But the VCA itself doesn't shape the sound over time. Instead, it responds to control signals. One of the main ways we interact with it is through the amp envelope generator, which tells the VCA how the sound should evolve over time using the ADSR controls. Many fixed architecture synths keep the VCA under the hood, so you won't find a dedicated module on the front panel, like for the oscillators or the filters, for instance. But you can think of the envelope generator as the brain and the VCA as the muscle. And of course, the VCA can be modulated with other mod sources like LFOs, velocity, and aftertouch. Okay, so far we looked at the basic building blocks that you'll find in virtually any and every subtractive synth, whether they are analog, digital, vintage or modern, monophonic or polyphonic. It doesn't matter, they will all have oscillators, a mixer, filters, envelope generators, and LFOs. The last 3 items on my list are optional features, but they'll definitely be something to consider when you're shopping around for a new synth. Adding effects to your synth sound can be an effective way to make them more pleasing to the ear and organic. But there used to be a time when the only option was to use external studio effects or guitar pedals, and this is a workflow that is still used by many producers and musicians today. And there is of course the option to use virtual effects if you're recording music in a DAW. But these days, a lot of synths have built-in effects that sound terrific and that allow you to design your sound from A to Z straight from the machine. Another important performance tool that doesn't come on every machine, although it's increasingly incorporated by default into many synths, is the Arpeggiator sequencer. The Arpeggiator lets you arpeggiate chords using different shapes and patterns, and the sequencer lets you pre-program a sequence and play it at the touch of a key across the whole keyboard. And most newer synths incorporate generated features in their sequencer Arpeggiator to help you come up with new ideas on the fly. Lastly, and I just thought you should hear that term and know what it means because you'll definitely run into it, I wanted to talk about the mod matrix. The mod matrix of a synth is the interface in which a modulation source can be linked to one or more destinations on the synth. You can also think of it as the synth's internal patch bay. It can be a little bit intimidating at first, but it's actually pretty easy to use, so don't be afraid to dive in. So that's it for this quick anatomy of a synth. Now you know what's what, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the bell and subscribe for more music tech content, and I'll see you soon on the B&H Audio YouTube channel.